At the end of the day, people won't remember what you said or did, but they'll remember how you made them feel. This is a really cool line from Maya Angelou, and it really neatly explains what tele-empathy is. Tele-empathy, what is that? It's telepathy and empathy, and where they meet and work together. You are tele-empathic. You use your tele-empathic abilities every single day, and we need to work out how to own those abilities so that we can communicate clearly and effectively. And in this video, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for how to develop your tele-empathy and how to own it. But first of all, you need to accept that you're doing it at all. You're tele-empathic. Everybody's tele-empathic. We send information through our auras, through our energy, constantly, okay? Keep in mind that science has already recognized that we pick up heaps of information that we don't process consciously. We process it subconsciously or unconsciously, such as people's pheromones. So the smell of them, that's how we work out our chemistry with other people. So, don't go too heavy on the perfume if you want people to smell your sweat and know if you're a match for them. You don't want them to find out waking up in bed next to you months later that actually maybe you guys aren't super compatible. Let yourself stink a little bit, basically. We also pick up cues on body language, people's tone of voice, like environmental factors, like when the humidity goes up, we feel that and we sense that it's going to rain. We take in heaps and heaps of information without actually consciously thinking about it because it's too much and we don't need to think about it. There's so much in our bodies and systems that just processes it and knows what to do with it, okay? That doesn't mean that we can't integrate a little bit better, but that's a different story. In this lesson, I just want you to understand that science already acknowledges that we communicate a lot with all these senses, and we don't even understand in the moment all the things that we're picking up on. Our mood, our energy, the frequency at which we're interacting with other people is picked up so much more clearly than the words that you use. Consider, have you ever had an argument with someone where you almost can't even remember what they said that annoyed you, but you know that it was offensive? Where you might be like, well, you said that I was stupid. And they go, I didn't say that you were stupid. I said that what you did wasn't very clever. It's not the same thing. And you might pick over the semantics of that, over the details of that, what was said, what was not said. That horrific Black Mirror episode where everyone can rewind their memories and they're going over, well, you did this and you did that, and look at your eyes and look at your body language, and they're trying to pick it apart. Often we try to do that because we're essentially trying to explain the unexplainable, and that's because we sensed an energy, or we heard a thought, or we felt their emotions. We had a tele-empathic exchange, but we don't know we're not taught how to explain that. We don't even know that we're doing it. We just go, but you were mad at me. And they're like, but I didn't say anything that aggravating. And you're like, but I received aggravation from you. I get this as a teacher, as a parent, I'll say something, but if my energy isn't matching what I'm saying, what are people receiving? What I said or did? Or the energy of it? I've had a lot of meals, for example, where someone's really begrudgingly made something out of a sense of like obligation, or they were frustrated, and it might be your favorite dish and it might have been prepared perfectly, and they may have intended to make it with love as a gesture of loyalty and service and care and affection. But if you're in a bad mood when you're making it and then you put it in front of someone with a bad mood, it's not going to be received as a gift. It's going to make people feel awkward and guilty and put upon and accountable and responsible and all these things that people don't want to have to worry about while they're eating a meal. Likewise, if I'm really, really busy and frustrated and I'm thinking, wow, everybody is so annoying right now, And then I think, okay, well, it would logically be nice for me to remind my kids that I love them, even though I'm kind of not super present at the moment. And I'm like, okay, look, I love you, but get out of the room right now. They're not going to hear the part where I said I love you. They're just going to feel the energy of, this lady is repelling me right now and I don't feel super loved. It's the energy that you put out there that people are feeling. And we do this constantly and all the time. And this example is not to say that I don't love my kids. Of course I love my kids. But I'm not sitting down to feel into that and let that love take me over when I go, I love you, now get out of the room. Right? So what can we take away from this? 1, let your emotions and your words match up, because then there's congruency between all of the messages that you're sending out there, okay? And it doesn't have to be positive. You know, it can be really, really helpful to check in with yourself and be self-aware. And, you know, I often find myself having to explain, like, I'm really hungry right now. And my system is just telling me I need to knock down everybody between me and food right now. So if my voice is coming out super tense or passive aggressive, please don't take it personally. I don't actually feel passive aggressive towards anybody. My whole system has just been overridden by the need to get food in my face immediately. And because I know before, I've been like, you know, I remember once I came over to someone's house with takeout lunch. Like, I'd gone like all out and I had all these different salads and dips and wraps and things like that because I was starving before I went to go meet this person. And I was like feeling quite chuffed because I was like, they're going to be so happy. I brought over lunch for us and we can have lunch together. But I was so hungry and ready to eat that I was like, sorry, excuse me, I'm really, really hungry. I really want to eat. I brought lunch for us. Cool, I'll get the plates. Let's go sit. And they were like, you walked in here snarling, rude and snarling. And of course I was mortified and I felt so misunderstood. And I was like, but I came in and said, I love you and sorry, I'm a bit manic. I'm just really hungry. But they didn't hear all of that. They didn't hear all the disclaimers. All they heard was the anger in my voice. And now that was an issue of communication on both sides, of that person not accepting or acknowledging or even trying to acknowledge the complexity of all the different energies that are all mixed up inside of me. But it also just goes to show that sometimes we're just going to be misunderstood, and that's okay. But if you can sit down and go, you know what, these are all of my emotions, please believe me that the way I feel exists is correct. You're picking up on that. You're intuiting that. But that is not the same thing as my intention for how I want to be here with you today. So then it's my responsibility to bring my intention and my energy together. So it's kind of, you know, communication is a two-way, multi-way project. It involves both people to be actively listening, understanding, and trusting of one another to some extent. But if we can let people know that there is an energy that's discordant with our words, that's a great first step. The next step is to actually bring those together in harmony. I know that's not always easy to do. There are going to be times when we're genuinely stressed out, frustrated, and we can't, or like very upset, and we can't shift that immediately. But the more that we connect in with our hearts and love, which we've been talking about for a long time now, and if, you know, I'm in your algorithm, then you definitely care about love and sending out loving vibes. The more we do that, the stronger that muscle becomes, and the easier it is for us to drop into that loving space. For example, so if I'm stressed out and I'm going, okay kids, get out of here, I'm mad at you, I love you, have a good day at school, whatever. It's actually not that hard for me, no matter how stressed out I am, to just take a deep breath, feel into my heart, look at my kids with that perspective of love, make sure that I feel that love as I'm saying what I'm saying. Or even just, you know, correct yourself, go, excuse me, that wasn't delivered with the integrity or the impeccability of my word that I meant to deliver it with. Give me another chance. Take a deep breath, feel that love, and then say, I really love you. Have a nice day. People feel that more. And that's how you relate to me and other people that you find online. That's how we vet people. There's no marketing strategy anymore, no communication strategy that is more powerful than your energy. And I get that too. Like, there are people I watch online who come up on my algorithm or in my marketing feed, emails, however it goes, the feed, the spam folder of all the gurus and coaches because you signed up for like a free meditation or something. Thank you very much, everybody. Sometimes you get a sense of like, wow, this person has a lot of gifts and a lot to share, but they're very much in that like greedy, grasping energy, which can be a bit of a turn off, or you feel like a clarity or a love and a sincerity coming from those people. And it transcends language, it transcends words, it transcends imagery, it transcends makeup and Photoshop and flashing lights and photo shoots. It transcends all of that. The energy is what speaks for itself. And I'm kind of an expert in communications. I have a PhD in writing. I've spent over a decade researching and teaching like how to be persuasive, how to be clever, how to be funny, how to write with this feeling or in this style. I've been part of political campaigns and charity campaigns, and before I really thought I could change the world by knocking on people's door and saying the right things in the right order in the right way. I used to think, excuse me, I'm a little bit losing my sentences as I go because I determined that I wasn't going to think about what I was saying and I was just going to let it flow from the space of love. But I thought that I could change the world with my words, but I can't really. All I can do is share my energy and trust that you can feel that. And I'm sure most of you all tuned in here are like, I can feel Kelly's energy. And even though she's a little bit manic and disorganized, and even though, there's probably all of these like shadows and unhealed parts that are coming through in every moment, because the energy that we send off is a whole package, right? There's the energy in the moment, and there's the energy of the whole person, the timelessness of that person. I'm going to lie down. My arm is getting sore. So we've got all these different ways of communicating our energy, and it transcends words and language. And so even though I'm not perfect, even though you can sense that there's all this like awkwardness about me, you can still sense that there's also a like a love and a good intention, right? Oh my gosh, the sun, my eyes. Sorry, this is like the weirdest recording I've ever done. Onwards and upwards, right? So what am I even talking about now? Here I am saying I'm an expert in communication, and I'm losing my train of thought again and again and again. And it's really funny too, the brightness on my screen has gone down so low. Like I literally can't even, like barely see myself in the screen. So clearly I'm being asked not to be self-conscious and to just go with the flow here. Hopefully I haven't popped a tit. I've stopped breastfeeding, and so I'm like very flat-chested now, and my clothes don't fit me super well. Might have to go on Photoshop and put a sticker, a sensor bar over my top. Anyway, in summary, all of your emotions override your intention. So try to get your intentions and your emotions in alignment, and that's going to avoid confusion. That's going to avoid offending people. Likewise, if you want to be threatening to somebody, get your emotions in alignment. Don't be like all tired and scared and then type out something that's like, F you, I'll kill you. Get in that mode, method acting. Get in that place of like, I am ferocious and terrifying, and if you come near me or my babies, you're going to be in a world of pain. Not that I, 1449, not that I practice that often, but it's you know, these are the things that actually get through to people. And like, I'm a tiny person. I'm like 5'3" and like 52 kilos. So I am a small person, but I can stand there and be like, don't you F with me. And that is terrifying to people because my energy matches that. And the energy is full of potential. The energy is full of power. The energy doesn't lie. And if my energy is like, I could destroy somebody, then I can. Then I move into a timeline or a state of being where I become that energy, and all of the potentials, all of the realities attached to that energy open up. What you're basically saying to somebody with your energy in those moments is, this is who I am and this is what I'm capable of, and that is true. It's true because you feel it. It's true because you're embodying it. So not only are you communicating to people your emotions at the moment, but you're communicating who you are, because who you are changes in every moment as timelines collapse and rebuild. And guess what? They do that based on your emotions, which are a really good indicator of your energy. You know, I've been using energy and emotions kind of interchangeably here because emotions are energy. Yes, they can be very surface level. Yes, they change a lot, but it's very important to understand the ways in which your emotions nevertheless become kind of the steering wheel for where the ship of your life is headed. How do you like that metaphor? I have a PhD in writing. I come up with ship metaphors, so original. Oh, look at all the self-deprecating language. I think I do that because I don't want to intimidate anybody. I never want to intimidate anybody because I don't want people to think that anything that I've done or can do is outside of the realms of anybody else's reality. And to be honest, sometimes I don't know if that's true. I've definitely had moments where I've thought, I want to teach people channeling. And I embarked on this journey thinking that I was going to learn it, and if I could learn it, then I could teach it to other people. But then I thought, well, what if I'm like genetically predisposed to be able to channel? What if I have a soul contract that makes me better at this than some people? Like, what if I can't? But ultimately, at the end of the day, what I keep coming back to is that my energy is drawing people to me in a similar energy. And so whoever I'm talking to is going to resonate with me on that level anyway. If you're watching this and it doesn't resonate, you're going to forget it really, really quickly. You probably wouldn't have gotten to this point in the video if it didn't resonate. So if you're like me, that's because our energy was a match. And I'm in the energy of, I can do this because I've proven it to myself over and over and over again. Which means you can do it over and over and over again as well, because that's the intention of this message. And the intention of all of my work is, please let this be useful and helpful to people, or God strike me down. Whatever your idea of God is, you know, my higher self, come and stick your hand over my mouth, which has happened before. You know, I've had tech difficulties and you know, lost my voice and all kinds of crazy stuff happening. And that can be hard too, trying to trust that all the crazy stuff and interruptions are also for the highest good. You know, sometimes people get stuck in traffic, or there's an accident, or, you know, someone holds you up and they'll be like, how annoying. And I feel like pointing out to them, and I often do, like, well, maybe that inconvenience saved your life. Maybe it stopped you from being on the road at the wrong time, and you don't know if it saved you or not, but why not just be grateful that the universe is helping you out because you asked it to and you surrendered to it. So anyway, there's a long side rant about synchronicity and energy. I hope that this is making sense to somebody. I'm really untangling here. And to be honest, I think a lot of it has to do with ADHD. So my guides have told me I have not been officially diagnosed. I've had plenty of medical professionals and friends and people with ADHD telling me I probably have ADHD. And my guides have said, yes, you have what could be called ADHD. But they've said to me, we don't want you going to go get medication. And this is for me specifically. I'm not giving advice to anybody else. Everybody has their own role to play in lots of different ways. But they have said to me personally, do not go get medicated, because as you get older and you get more vague and loopy and easily distracted, which tends to happen to neurodivergent women. Men tend to start off life like hyperactive with like ADD or whatever, and then they get better and better at coping as they get older. Women are the opposite. They tend to mask really well, or like slide by without a diagnosis, you know, under the radar, and then as they get older they get more and more like, where am I, and spaced out and distracted, which is why women tend to get diagnosed at a later age. But my guides have been telling me that they want me like this. They want me all spaced out and woo-woo and like, whoa, because they're like, this is helping you do the work that you need to do. It's helping you stop thinking. It's helping you be in your feminine. It's helping you learn to receive. It's helping you channel more, helping you stay in those altered states of consciousness, which are like, you know, alpha, theta, all of that. So I'm trying to just embrace that being a little bit loopy is helping bring me closer to source, and I am trusting that you can read my energy, and that not having the right words to explain everything isn't such a big deal, because you can feel me, because there's a whole payload of information energetically coming through to you right now. And so what I'm imploring you to do at the end of this Tele-empathy mini lesson is to trust that energetic transmission and to care more about the emotions and the energy that you're bringing to the table than being a perfectionist with your words and image and actions. Like, yes, be as impeccable as you can be mindful and present, get all of that right too. But like Maya Angelou says, people will remember how you made them feel more than anything else. They will remember how you made them feel, which means they will remember your energy and your emotions and your thoughts, which they're picking up on tele-empathically, and how that makes them feel. That's the most important thing. Trust that people will understand you. Trust that people have probably always understood you, but they're reading your energy. So think about what kind of person you want to be, what kind of feelings you want to give other people, and then give those feelings to yourself. Get into those states of consciousness. Get into those physiological states. You know, and it's not always easy. Like, I've been really sleep deprived the last little while, especially the last couple of days. And even without coffee, like, my eye has been twitching and I was shaking and I had probably a bit of like adrenal burnout and whatever. And so everything came out of my mouth a bit tense. But in that case, it was a match, you know, I was feeling tense and I was sounding tense. And, you know, it's not easy to come back from that. You know, you can sit down and meditate and exercise and eat right, and all of that helps. You know, self-care is important. And it wasn't easy to get back on track. And I was frustrated with myself. I'm like, why can't I just sit down and meditate and be back to full power again? It's like, because you're a human being in a human body and you're working with human technology. So, look, it's not always easy, but best as you can, think about the energy that you're transmitting. Think about the emotional communication that you're engaging with, because that is so much more potent than anything else. So much more potent. That is what people are listening to. So get your energy clean and clear. And again, that is not just something that happens on a general level. Like, generally, that person's energy is really bright and clear, but she was really stressed when she wrote that email. And so the email comes across as really stressed, even though she wrote it with so much care and attention and used the most friendly words possible. I mean, when I was teaching, because, you know, I teach communications and that often involves a lot of cultural and media studies, I was teaching, you know, these different political viewpoints as well as like human rights. And so often that talks about like, you know, left versus right kind of stuff. And I always try to deliver that content with a lot of like, you know, manic pixie dream girl daycare teacher kind of energy, even though I'm trying to be you know, like as sincere as possible generally, because I'm like, I know a lot of people in the room are going to get really offended by some of this stuff, and I don't mean to offend them, and I don't believe that the content is offensive, but it just happens, you know, everybody gets really fired up politically. So I would deliver things in the gentlest, nicest, most diplomatic way possible, but I'm actually quite freaked out because I'm anticipating all of this like you know, it's somebody in the room having a go at me. And of course, like, that happens. People are sitting there listening to me and picking up on this cagey energy, and so it puts them into fighting mode, and the content is already like a little bit controversial or sticky, and so that's the communication we're having, that's the conversation we're happening now, how cagey and defensive we all feel about our values and beliefs. So it didn't matter how nicely I put it, and I was always so confused. I'd get teaching feedback, you know, and it was almost always like 4.9 or 5 out of 5 stars. Anyway, I'm a great teacher, and mostly I'm just sincere. I just show up to class like, you know, we're all gonna die one day, but for some reason we decided to write an essay about this, so let's have fun with it. And people respond to that really well because I don't have a lot of airs and graces, and I don't pretend that every single assignment we're working on is, you know, gonna make or break the world. But I do show up sincerely, so I was always really confused why sometimes I would get the odd feedback, like Kelly was really hostile in that gender studies lecture, or Kelly was really hostile when she was talking about free speech. And I'm like, I said that as nicely as possible, and I even had all these happy pictures in my PowerPoint slide. I don't understand why people took me that way, but it's because I showed up with that energy. Okay. Where am I at now? Oh yeah, I'm teaching a telepathy workshop with the Patreon group this Saturday. My time, it's now Thursday morning, so in like 48 hours, almost exactly, I'll be teaching that. It's super fun, it's open to all tiers. Membership starts at $11 a month. You could like sign up, come to the telepathy workshop, watch a bunch of replays, and then cancel it, and then you get a bunch of content for like $11. That would be super cool, right? Anyway, I'm super excited about this telepathy workshop because I am getting so telepathic. My partner is getting so telepathic. Everybody on the planet is getting so telepathic. And we got to learn how to use this. And to be honest, I was kind of waiting for somebody else to show up and teach it. And then I realized I'm the one who's supposed to teach it. And my guides have been giving me so many downloads about it. And I was a little bit freaked out at first. I was like, this is huge, but it felt so right. And I've been designing all these different like exercises and like activations for this as well. But it's not, the activating part of it isn't that I am giving you telepathic abilities. It's that you already have them. And I'm basically, we're all giving each other a permission slip to go, yeah, you are. Start owning it. And then the more you practice it, the stronger that muscle becomes. Just like voice training, you know, not that I've had any voice training, as you can probably tell by my bogan Aussie accent. But it is like just learning to remember that you're doing it. And I'm going to teach you some tactics and strategies for doing it in a more potent way. You know, tele-empathy, getting your energy and your words in alignment is a huge one. That's what I'm doing with you now. And by the way, it works with animals too. Like if you look at a bird and you think all these like happy thoughts and calm, peaceful, I'm not going to do anything crazy like run at you thoughts. I'm just going to sit here calmly and be in your presence thoughts. The bird will probably come closer to you if it wants to, you know, like not everybody's going to want to come say hello to you anyway. But you know, the people who are meant for you will be like, oh, okay, this person isn't a threat. I'm happy to just sit here and coexist with this human as if they were just another blade of grass. You know, animals are very tele-empathic. That's their main mode of communication. So anyway, getting your energy and your words, or your energy and your intention in alignment, is like the biggest tip that I can give you in terms of tele-empathy. But if you want to learn more about telepathy in terms of like actually hearing another person's thoughts in your head, which you're all already doing anyway, I'm going to teach you how to do that, and also how to untangle a person's thoughts from your own thoughts and all the other thoughts going on. And this is really foundational for channeling too. They really go hand in hand, because that's essentially what telepathy is, like everyday channeling. So we're going to learn that. That'll be super fun. Wow, this video is getting long. I hope that made sense and that there's something for you in it, or else may this video accidentally delete and not get uploaded. Okay, I adore you all. Have a lot of fun. Thanks for bearing with. Bye.